Hey guys, welcome to Dog Forge. My name's Paul, and this is our Tasha's Cauldron of Everything series. Do you want more Tasha's and D&D content in your life? Then hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Now, we've gained a lot of new subscribers recently, and it really helps the channel grow, and we also really appreciate it here. But enough of that stuff. It's time to set up your telescope, cast your eyes upwards, as today we're going to take a look at the Circle of Stars Druid. Now, this is probably one of the more anticipated subclasses, if I had to guess, just because of how awesome it was in the UA, and there are some significant changes here. Some in the realm of reining things in, and some actually going the other way and pushing things further. So, the Circle of Stars Druid is all about stars. They draw on the power of starlight, and they track heavenly patterns. They're basically nature-y astronomers, and it's a pretty cool theming. The artwork is... I don't know why the artwork looks like he's an NPC that's got a quest to give you in an MMORPG, but that is some inspiration that you could take. Jumping into what you actually get, so at second level, where you get your circle, you're going to get your star map, and this is basically, it's a trend in the book, especially with things like the Genie Patron. A star map is a tiny object that essentially gives you a thematic grounding in mechanics for what you can do. It is a tiny object that can serve as a spellcasting focus for your druid spells, and you can come up with your own appearance for the star map, or they do also have some suggestions for you. Either way, it's one of the core pieces of the class that, if you do end up losing it, can be a little bit of a hindrance. So we'll attend to the forms first, and some of the examples they give is a scroll covered with depictions of constellations, a stone tablet with fine holes drilled through it, a speckled owlbear hide tool with raised marks, a collection of maps bound in an ebony cover, a crystal that projects starry patterns when placed before a light, and a glass disc that depicts constellations. Quite a bit of variety there that can show you, the differences of your cultural version of being a star druid, and it all, going through it, it's all pretty much natural materials as well. You're not getting, a refined parchment or any real use of metal, which is keeping in theme with the druid. Now, whilst holding this map, you have the following benefits. You know the guidance cantrip. You have the guiding bolt spell prepared, and it counts as a druid spell for you. It doesn't count against your total number of spells prepared. And you can cast guiding bolt without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. Now, this has changed from the UA. It used to be that you could cast guiding bolt and augury, and you could cast them for a total per long rest equal to your wisdom modifier. So we've lost augury and we've gained guidance, a fantastic cantrip, and less problematic for the DM probably. And as a result, in tier 1 you're probably going to get less uses. If you're optimizing your primary stat, you're probably starting with a +3 wisdom, so you're starting with 1 less use, and your progression overall with your guiding bolts is lower, so in some way that's probably nerfing your use of guiding bolt. On the other hand, you no longer have the option of augury to expend your uses on either, so you're pretty much always just going to be using guiding bolt with this feature. Now, guiding bolt may seem very powerful to begin with for any DMs looking in this and feeling a little bit wary, but you have to remember that through this feature with the free casting, you can't actually upcast it. When you free cast it, it's just a first level spell, and that's not going to age particularly graceful as you get up in levels. I currently have a star druid in one of my campaigns, and this is not really an issue at all. The few times that they've used guiding bolt, it's does not really seem out of place with any of the other characters. One thing to keep in mind is that you do need to hold your star map for these benefits to apply. If you have your star map stolen or destroyed, this entire feature, including guidance and knowing the guiding bolt spell altogether, go away until you spend a 1 hour ceremony to magically create a replacement. Now, and again, as with most of these things, you can do that ceremony part of a short or long rest too. Moving on! At 2nd level, we're also going to get our Starry Super Saiyan form, which they elegantly refer to as Starry form. Now, this in the UA was a full action to activate, however that has moved to a bonus action, and this is the primary way really that it's shifted to a more buffed form like I was referring to. So this costs a use of your wild shape, and for those that don't know, you get 2 uses of your wild shape per short rest. While in your starry form, you retain your game statistics, but your body becomes luminous, your joints glimmer like stars, and glowing lines connect them as on a star chart. This form sheds bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. The form lasts for 10 minutes, or ends early if you dismiss it, no action required. You're incapacitated, die, or use this feature again. So this is clarification that if you use this feature again, it is officially ending the first instance and going into the second one. This shouldn't really matter, but this does occasionally come up in fringe things, usually online discussions. Whenever you assume your starry form, you have to choose what kind of constellation you are emanating, and you have a choice of 3. So first up, the Archer. A constellation of an archer appears on you, and when you activate this form, and as a bonus action on your subsequent turns, you can make a ranged attack within 60 feet. On a hit, that deals radiant damage equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier, and this uses your spell modifier as this is a spell attack. So just to clarify here, when you enter your starry form as a bonus action, if you choose the archer, you can, as part of that same bonus action, make an attack. And that is another part where this has gotten much better. It used to be that if you chose to starry form as your action, unless you wanted to cast something like Shillelagh or Healing Word or something like that, then your best bet for action economy was to take the archer form and then spend your bonus action on firing off an arrow. With them making the move towards bonus action for the starry form, I could have seen them not allowing that, but the fact that they're still allowing you to make that arrow shot is actually quite powerful, especially on early levels when you're pairing it with Guiding Bolt. The next up is Chalice. A constellation of a life-giving goblet appears on you. How a life-giving goblet differs in appearance to another goblet, I'm not entirely sure, but we'd have to ask somebody that has extensive knowledge of goblets. Indiana Jones jumps to mind. Whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot that restores hit points to a creature, you or another creature within 30 feet of you can regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. This is pretty great if you're going with a healer build. 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier, you're basically getting you're basically getting a healing word-ified version of Cure Wounds for free every time you heal somebody. Cure Wounds would typically be 1d8 plus your modifier as an action in melee, or touch, and you're getting that shifted to a bonus action with range. So that's a really nice ability. And if you want to go more for the concentration based, then the Constellation of the Dragon is for you. First up, when you make an intelligence or a wisdom check, or a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on a spell, you can treat a roll of 9 or lower on the d20 as a 10. This is fantastic. The intelligence or wisdom checks are a bit situational, especially since this is probably just going to be a combat form. I can see some use for, dispel magic checks with the wisdom checks. but the concentration is amazing. You know, druids get access to fantastic concentration spells like Bark Skin, Spike Growth, Call Lightning, and this basically means that as long as you have a decent Constitution modifier, you're probably not going to, you're probably not going to lose concentration ever. Especially in the first 2 tiers of the game, taking enough damage to make your save DC high enough to fail when the lowest you can get on the die is a 10 is actually really difficult. If you have a +2 Constitution and you take this form, you would have to take, so you'd save on a 12? You'd have to take 26 damage in one go, in one hit, to actually get a DC high enough to have a chance of failing. So this is a really great ability, and it gets better later too. At 6th level, we get Cosmic Omen. So whenever you finish a long rest, you can consult your star map for omens. When you do so, roll a die, and until you finish your next long rest, you gain access to a special reaction based on whether you rolled an even or an odd number. So Wheel, which is an even number. Whenever a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is about to make an attack roll, a saving throw, or an ability check, so they basically are rolling a d20, you can use your reaction to roll a d6 and add the number to that roll. That's a pretty fantastic ability. And Woe, which is an odd number. Whenever a creature within 30 feet of you is about to make an attack roll, saving throw, or an ability check, you can use your reaction, roll a d6 to subtract that number from the total. So you can think of this as like a Star Druid version of Bless and Bane, but they require your reaction to impart. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now, given the power of this ability, I do feel like proficiency bonus is a very wise limiting factor. When you get this ability, you're going to be able to use the reaction 3 times a day, so it makes it feel less like a go-to ability and more like we really need to get this hit in, or really need to save that party member from getting killed or failing their save and subsequently getting killed. So Cosmic Omen, I'm a big fan of. At level 10, we're going to get Twinkling Constellations, and this is basically just an overall improvement for your starry form. So the d8 that you get with Archer and Chalice becomes 2d8, which is a pretty nice buff, especially at 10th level. And whilst you have the Dragon Constellation active, you also gain a flying speed of 20 feet, and you can hover. You can also, at the start of each of your turns while in your starry form, change your constellation on your body. Now that's pretty great because you're not locked into the one form, so it really opens up your options. If you find the battle turning, perhaps your party's severely taking damage, somebody's gone down, and it doesn't look like you're going to kill the big bad relatively quickly, then you can switch from your blasting form of being an archer to your chalice form, and then start doling out the healing. So this is a really great improvement, and I feel like this comes in earlier than you would typically get improvements for similar things. So I'm not sure how I feel about that coming in earlier, but overall, fantastic build. And finally, at level 14, you get Full of Stars. Whilst in your starry form, you become partially incorporeal. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So basically, starry form becomes a rage for you. That's amazing, quite frankly. Now, this is not really a circle that lends itself to melee particularly. If anything, you would want to go for Circle of Spores for that. But this ability does not just increase your own individual survivability. This ability also allows you to, decide to wade in and tank a little bit. Not necessarily all the time, but if things are going badly, you have that option to take the pressure off the rest of the party. I'm not sure if it fits entirely with the rest of the subclass. I can kind of see where it's coming from. It's a great ability. I'm just not sure if it fits overall. So that's Circle of the Stars, and this is certainly a very, very strong circle. I think this would be a real blast to play. Eh? Guiding Bolt, Archer, no? Okay. Well, I think it'd be fun to play. I don't think that the power is at a point where you would need to be concerned. From what I've seen of this in play and from my own interpretation reading it, I don't think that you're really going to overshadow other players. I don't think it's going to cause a balance concern for the DM. So overall, I'm really happy with this domain, which I feel like I've been complaining a lot in recent videos, so that's weird, but nice. But who really cares what I think? What do you think about the Stars Druid? Let us know in the comments down below, and whilst you're there, hit that like button if you like this video. If you want more 5e and Tasha's content, then hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you want your next D&D fix straight away, then smash one of those boxes appearing on screen right now, as if by magic. I've been Paul. I'll see you next time at the Forge.